Good afternoon, and welcome to this special graduation day. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Conservatoire and to this ceremony. This is one of the most important days in the academic calendar. It's the day when staff can gather with their graduands and their family and friends to celebrate their academic achievements. By virtue of the powers granted by the Privy Council, the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland is this day holding a congregation for the conferment of degrees. Our ceremony now begins with the award of degrees and then moves to the conferment of an honorary degree. I now invite the Director of Music to present the graduands for their awards.
Principal, in the name of the School of Music and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduands who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts. In accompaniment, Jesus Kang.
Congratulations.
Mianora Kosonen.
I confer your degree. Congratulations.
In chamber music, Raphael Chin.
I confer your degree. Congratulations.
Annabelle Kidd.
I confer your degree. Congratulations.
Cameron Smith. In performance, Breffney Fitzpatrick.
I confer your degree. Congratulations.
Leah Lee.
Congratulations.
With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduands who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Music. In performance, Javier Francos Marrero.
Congratulations.
Philip Leslie.
Congratulations.
Nikolaus Venner.
Congratulations.
With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduand who has been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Education in Music, with honours of the second class, Marion Gilmer.
Congratulations.
With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduands who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Music. In composition, Shan Campbell.
Congratulations.
In jazz, with honours of the second class, Alexander McIntosh.
Congratulations.
And for the ordinary degree, Loic Ginnigas.
Congratulations.
In performance, with honours of the first class, Zachariah Ronan.
Congratulations.
In traditional music, with honours of the second class, Emily Shields.
Congratulations.
David Small. On behalf of the partnership comprising the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland and the National Piping Centre of Scotland, with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduand who has been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Music in Traditional Music, Piping. With honours of the second class, Kenneth McFarlane.
Congratulations. Our ceremony now moves to the conferment of an honorary degree. The authority of degree awarding powers resides with the Academic Board of the Conservatoire, which may confer an honorary degree of doctor upon any person it considers has made a truly outstanding contribution to their profession and whose achievements richly deserve high distinction and recognition. We were delighted that the recipient of our honorary doctorate was able to join us here at the Conservatoire in August to accept this award, presented as part of a small, private, and COVID-safe ceremony. I have pleasure in introducing this film made in their honor.
Principal, Chairman, colleagues, students, and invited guests, and Alan, it's such a pleasure today to welcome you back to this institution which I know has a special place and time in your heart. We're delighted that Grant, your mum and family could be here with us too, as well as a few welcoming and familiar faces, such as the equally fabulous Jean Sangster, now our head of voice. I hope this feels like a warm welcome, a welcome home, and in some ways, the completion of a circle from the day in the spring of 1982 you first came to Glasgow, with your mum in tow as moral support, to audition for a place at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama. You had prepared 2 speeches for that audition, one from Brian Friel's play Lovers, which you'd recently performed with the Carnoustie Theatre Club, and the second, a soliloquy from the chamber scene in Act 3 of Hamlet. You went in front of the panel, and the day was rounded off by a tour of the building from a student named Margaret Ann. It clearly went well. As you recall in your memoir, I was accepted. A letter was waiting for me from the academy when I got home from work one evening, a week or so later. And it wasn't just a letter of acceptance, it was an escape, a new life, a miracle. What you have done with that new life, that miracle, is in essence why we are here today. And it's my honour and challenge to distill into a few minutes what makes you, Alan Cumming, a worthy recipient of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland's ultimate academic honour, an honorary doctorate. It would be a disservice to your professional achievements and to their eclectic nature to claim to summarise them adequately here. For a man who has played Dionysus, God, the devil, and the Pope, and whose portrait took the same spot as the Queen's had previously done in the Scottish National Portrait Gallery, epithets such as bawdy countercultural sprite sit unproblematically alongside accolades, reflecting your masterful command of the Shakespearean language or your beyond virtuosic performances. In addition to performing and producing in some of the world's most iconic venues, your versatility has seen you write prolifically, whether original material for performance and albums, or articles for various media and books, a novel, and an autobiography. You have exhibited your photography, directed and used your platform for hugely impactful activism for LGBTQ+ rights, and humanitarian work, which has been recognized with many awards. Your capacity to reinvent yourself and the appeal of your work and what you stand for is frequently highlighted in published pieces about your career, like this one from Fortune magazine, describing you as a Tony Award-winning actor, director, and best-selling author who has seamlessly shifted from film to television to Broadway and beyond. Along the way, Alan Cumming has played everything from a James Bond villain, a nerdy billionaire, and a mad genius to gutsy Smurf, Hamlet, and none other than himself. Or indeed this piece, noting that Cumming has held the title of queer icon since the late 90s, when he was described by the New York Observer as a frolicky pansexual sex symbol for the new millennium. I'm sure Joyce will be able to direct you to whichever module has that as a learning outcome in the programme. We have, of course, and I apologise, skipped lightly over a stellar career, which embraces everything from the youthful levity of Victor and Barry, a partnership with fellow RSAMD student and actor Forbes Mason, complete with ageless duets, such as the Lower Largo Triangle and Kelvin Side Men, to bearing distressing witness to the desperate clutches of mental illness as you did in your extraordinary one-man Macbeth with National Theatre of Scotland, and everything in between. Everyone has in their mind's eye an image of what is classic Alan Cumming, few more so than the Edinburgh International Festival audience who came to the King's Theatre in 2007 to see your first Scottish performance in more than a decade as Dionysus in David Gregg's reimagining of Euripides the Bacchae. That show was the most hotly anticipated in the festival that year, and your casting led one commentator to note that the evidence is overwhelming. Euripides can have had nobody but Cumming in mind when he sat down in 405 BC to write the Bacchae. The audience did certainly get more than an eyeful of classic Alan Cumming from the play's opening moments. To quote The Guardian's Mark Fisher, the buttocks came first. After 16 years away from the Scottish stage, Alan Cumming enters headfirst from above, his backside exposed for all to see. You brushed down your gold lame kilt, swept back the wig, smirked at the patrons, and with just the perfect amount of pause, said casually, "So, Thebes, I'm back." Throughout it all, as Dionysus, as MC, as Eli, and with every other character you've inhabited, you have prodded gently and on occasion more forcefully at boundaries, inequities, and the conventional norms. It is, for example, somewhat remarkable that the CBS show Instinct in 2018, in which you starred and were an executive producer, was the first US network drama series with a lead character who is gay. It is not, however, a surprise that you were behind this change as an actor who's been fiercely open about his sexuality and an activist for civil rights, sex equality, social justice, and AIDS research, among many other causes. It is for all of these things and for so much more that we honour you today. It is our mission at RCS to help young artists find their voice and also to use their art powerfully and meaningfully as active citizens. You are the embodiment, one of the greatest there is, of a label-free artist who finds the connecting energy and the art in all of life's experiences and can share it truthfully, giving the whole range of the human condition a language and a voice that is authentically yours. Yours is an exceptional voice. You bring inspiration, realism, and resilience to so many, including our own students, hoping to follow in your footsteps. With your openness about your own experiences, good and bad, in early life and adulthood, you have said that in every bad decision or moment of sensual joy, I have endeavored to show what I have learned and how I've become who I am today, a happy, flawed, vulnerable, fearless middle-aged man with a lot of baggage. You're the embodiment of what theatre critic Lynn Gardner has said of actors who are great. You can give them the infrastructure that allows them to take risks, but you can't teach them to be in touch with their own spirit. When this mixture of abandonment and control ignites, what happens is as mysterious as alchemy. The theatre crackles. You have been honoured many times, from your OBE to your many awards for stage and screen work, humanitarian work, and honorary doctorates. And we hope that this one, from the place you started on that new life, that miracle, will mean everything to you in receiving it that it does to us in awarding it. Alan Cumming, by his own admission, he isn't nearly done yet. It is with pleasure that I ask the Principal to confer the degree of Doctor of Drama honoris causa upon you, Alan Cumming.
Alan Cumming, by virtue of the powers granted by the Privy Council to the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland to confer an honorary degree of the Conservatoire upon any person it may deem worthy of such distinction, and in the name of the Academic Board, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Drama, honoris causa. Many congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was so touching, and also felt like it was my funeral. It is such an honor and really moving to receive this from my alma mater, even though, you know you're old when the place you went to train at changes its name and its location. But I feel very lucky to have been able to train at this institution, to be from a country that allowed me to have that training, and to be from a country that appreciates and values the arts in the way that Scotland does. It's rare, and maybe we don't realize how rare it is because we're lucky enough to be here in the middle of it. I really loved what you said about your spirit. I was sort of wondering what I should say today to those of you who are graduating and starting off on this, and hopefully what will be your miracle. I'm not one of these actors who doesn't look at himself. I think it's really important to understand how you are perceived and to make sure that what you're intending in your work comes across. So I watch myself. And I also read reviews. I'm not one of those actors who doesn't like to do that. I think it's very important to understand how you're being perceived in that way too, and also how you are placed within the world. I think you need to know yourself when you go out into this big bad world. It's very important, I think. If you don't know yourself, get to it. I think it's really, really important because you're going to be, it's like going into a storm. You've done the show bit, now you're going into the business bit, and it can be pretty brutal. And you can be brought down, you can be humiliated, you can also have great joy and great fulfillment, of course. But I'm trying to kind of, paint the black picture to start with. But I think it's the way you get through that is by knowing who you are, knowing what's at your core and what is important to you. I found that's what kept me going, kept me sane. And also to be able to understand how you're being perceived. I think the most interesting thing about anyone is their individuality and their authenticity. And as an artist, it's really, really important to hold on to that, because you're about to go into this arena where people will want you to be a type. They'll want you to conform or to be a bit more generic. And sometimes it's pragmatic to do that, and it's a good idea to do that. We all have to eat. But I think it's really important to know you're doing that and to understand, again, to know yourself, to know what is at the root of you, and to hold on to that, to hold on to your individuality and authenticity. Also, probably not all of you are going to do this as a job. It's a really weird kind of workplace to go into. There aren't enough jobs for us all. And it won't be for everyone. It might be horrible. It might be disastrous, or you might hate it. And I think I think it's really good to understand that maybe it's not for you if it's not for you. And you're a better person and a wiser person to make that decision and go and do something that makes you happy if it is overwhelming. I think that means that, therefore, this time you've had here is the prize. That is enough. This training, this incredible technique, but also this family and these friendships and the way you've been allowed to make mistakes for these years. it gets less easy to make mistakes. And I think that's why we should really enjoy and look back at this time as a time of sort of innocence, but also family and joy and getting to know yourself. And I think it's a really good thing when people decide to do something else, because it's much better to be a happy person than to be perceived as a successful person. And I've seen too many people who are very successful not be happy. And, you know, life's too short. So good luck. But above all, hold on to your authenticity, hold on to your joy. And, you know, it's not brain surgery being an artist. You just have to pretend to be someone else and mean it when you're an actor. You have to interpret other people's words or music or steps. It should be fun. I hope you have fun. Thank you very much. Thanks.
My warmest congratulations again to Dr. Cumming on their honorary doctorate and for their really thoughtful words for our graduates. I now invite the Director of Fair Access to present the graduands for their awards.
Principal, in the name of the Directorate of Fair Access and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduands who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts, Learning and Teaching, Gaelic Arts. Mary Coxon. Christopher Pendergast. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Education, Learning and Teaching in the Performing Arts. Philippa Clark. Tanya Chihika. Fanny Guifo. Glenn McCartney. Angela MacDonald. Abigail McMillan. Ashley McTavish. Christopher Wardlaw. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I request that you confer the appropriate degree upon those graduates listed in absentia in the programme.
I confer those degrees in absentia. Performance is at the heart of what we do here at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. And that's no different today, but we're going to take a moment to set the stage because we had to keep it clear for some of the work that was going on earlier. And I have in here ad lib. But what I wanted to say more than just ad lib was to talk about how joyous it has been for us to be returning to some kind of modified but face-to-face learning. We never actually closed during the pandemic. We kept teaching going very carefully, sometimes online, sometimes at a very safe distance. But the building didn't have the buzz. It didn't have the spirit. And just to have a group of students with a group of staff in our cafe bar, with the sun occasionally shining, has been incredibly profound and special. and it showed us just how much we missed over these last couple of years and how precious it is to be able to make art together. We're going to be hearing from two musicians today, and I have pleasure in introducing a performance of Fortune by William Byrd, arranged by Miklos Morshodzi, performed by Timothy Beatty and Finlay Hay, guitarists, in honor of today's graduates and also in honor of our honorary doctorate, Dr. Alan Cumming. It feels very special in this moment to be able to welcome you all in person to this ceremony today. We were unable to do so in 2020, and we really missed our chance to celebrate together. But we do hope to invite some of those students back next year so they can celebrate in person as well. As well as celebrating with all of you and your loved ones today, it gives us a moment to reflect on what you've achieved through a time of complexities and uncertainties and external challenges to the importance of the arts. For the last 18 months or so, the COVID pandemic has been an extremely difficult and worrying time for all of us. In navigating through the worries and constantly changing regulations, you have shown great determination and resilience to get to this moment that we share today. You've done it, but you've not done it alone. You've been part of a community of students and staff who have supported and rooted for each other, who've cared for each other and helped keep one another safe. Another very important part of that backroom team has been your friends and loved ones, some of whom are here in the Stevenson Hall with you today. Can I ask you now to be upstanding, to applaud them by way of saying thank you to them, as well as to any special people who are not here today, for all their love and support throughout your time at RCS, and especially this past year or so. Please. In thinking about all of the things we're going through with COVID, I've sometimes found it's helpful to pull back with a wider sense of history. The last century alone saw the Spanish flu epidemic, the Great War, or World War I, the Great Depression, and World War II, the Cold War, and a nuclear arms race. On every occasion, humanity has adapted, grieved, coped, and learned. As I hope, and I'm sure you hope too, that it will be the same for the climate crisis that we continue to see every day, the terrible impact of which around the planet. In 2 weeks' time, much of the world is coming here to Glasgow to seek action, resources, challenging targets, and new green ways to help humanity thrive without damage to our planet and ecosystem. Collective action will take courage and require change from us as individuals, as well as from our communities, corporations, and nations. We often fear change. Routine is comforting. We surround ourselves with familiar things. But part of navigating life is to think of that old analogy of it being a constant flowing river. The scenery is similar, but it's actually constantly changing with the currents and flow of millions of molecules. Change is constant in all of you. Your cells, 330 billion of them, are replaced daily, 1% of you changing every 24 hours. A complete new you every 7 to 10 years. It's always been our adaptability to change that has kept our species moving forward, inventing, preparing, compensating, and improving. These qualities are especially part of your DNA as artists and as graduates of this place. Too often, there's an artificial dichotomy between skills and education, between STEM and arts and humanities. Every person has strength in some of these areas, and each rely upon the complementary skills of the other. The greatest scientists and engineers have leaps of imagination to invent a way to go to Mars, to protect against COVID, to engineer an iPhone, and perhaps most critically, to heal and promote the future health of our planet. And the greatest artists plan with meticulousness of an engineer. There's nothing harder than contemplating a blank canvas, a blank page, a blank manuscript, until you begin to plan the structure and understand the purpose, the what, the why, and for whom. As humanity, we have great challenges to face, and I do not underestimate their scale or complexity. In the power we have to use our creativity powerfully and with impact, I'm really optimistic about our future and about all of your futures. The challenges from COVID and for our planet, as we're reminded full square by the impending COP26, are being met with ingenuity and science, and also in often small but miraculous ways with kindness and community. We humans are a social species, a creative species. We like to share and connect with each other. Going out into the world as graduates of the RCS, I hope all of you will do your part to be part of the positive, to bring us together, to embrace change while holding on to core values, to share and shout the big dreams. I hope, too, you'll be part of helping us move confidently into an inclusive and innovative society in which art and artists make things happen. And remember, wherever you are and whatever you go on to do it with pride and confidence. And always know that this is a place to call home, and you are always welcome here. Congratulations. Thank you. This congregation is now ended. Please be upstanding for our graduates.